any other organizers or panelists on the line. When you are ready to begin the presentation, press the Start Broadcast button on the GoToWebinar control panel to allow all attendees to hear you. This system will notify you once you begin your broadcast. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, and thank you for joining the webinar today. If you're on this webinar, chances are you're considering bringing in bioidentical hormones and/or pellet therapy to your practice. So I'm excited to have the opportunity to tell you about who we are and what we do. My goal today is to tell you a little bit about our pharmacy and some of the strengths that we bring as a compounding pharmacy, as well as Pro-Pell and everything that program is going to include. Pharmacy Solutions is a compounding pharmacy, and we're located in Arlington, Texas. We specialize in bioidenticals and have been for over 27 years. We do both sterile and non-sterile compounding, and we do every kind of medication. We do eye drops, ear drops, we do capsules, pellets, troches, injections, topicals, a lot of different things. We even have 20% of our business for animals. So we are a very diverse compounding pharmacy, but again, we've specialized in bioidentical hormones for humans for over 25 years. We are a PCAB accredited pharmacy, and that's an accreditation that really separates us from the other pharmacies in the country. That means that we are operating under the highest standards of quality that we possibly can. That PCAB accreditation means we're doing a lot of extra steps in the process to ensure a high quality product. We test for sterility and potency, sometimes pyrogenicity if that applies. We are doing extra trainings with our staff, extra things along the way to make sure that we've got a lot of checks and balances to make sure that no mistakes are happening, that we are giving you the highest quality product we can. That PCAB accreditation really sets us apart from other pharmacies. It ranks us among the top 2% of compounding pharmacies across the country. So that's something that is very important to us and hopefully important to you as well. In addition to the PCAB accreditation, we're an NABP pharmacy. That means that we are operating under all of the boards of pharmacy across the country and not just the states that we are licensed in. While we are licensed in 12 states with several pending, we are also, our goal is not to be on every corner across the country. But being NABP means that we are operating under every single board of pharmacy. Our take on that is if a state requires a certain process or step in the compounding process, we want to make sure that we are doing it. If it's important for one state to require, then it's something that we feel we should be doing. Again, just another accreditation that kind of sets us apart from some of the other pharmacies out there. Our mission at Pharmacy Solutions is to create positive patient outcomes through compounded medications. Our priority every day when we open our doors is the patient. Second behind that is the provider. We want to make sure that we are supporting the providers and we are really taking care of that patient all the way through that process. Pharmacy Solutions is a clinical pharmacy. And so what that means is we are taking a lot of time with patients, whether they are walking through our front door or they're 3 states away. We are spending time with that patient. We want to look at their complete package to see if there's other ways that we can possibly help. We look at their medical history. We look at current medications they're taking. We talk to them about symptoms or issues that they're having, and then we talk to them about goals that they might have. Our goal as a pharmacy is to try to get patients off medication and really living a life of wellness. We are passionate about education. So we spend a lot of time educating not just our practitioners, but also our patients on things that they can do to feel better, things that they can do with a supplement or maybe a lifestyle change. But those are all things that we do with patients, again, whether they're in our front lobby or 3 states away, to make sure that they are getting the most out of the medications that they're getting from us, the therapy and the whole process of what they're doing, as well as their service with our pharmacy. A lot of people ask us, why you're a compounding pharmacy, why did you create Pro-Pell? And I love this question because I really think it lends itself to what we do as a pharmacy. What we do is customized dosing. And that's what we do every single day from 9 to 6 in that pharmacy, whether it's a pellet or a topical or an eye drop or an ear drop. The goal is to get exactly what the patient needs. And sometimes we have the ability to create a combination to get that dose. And so we specialize in bioidentical hormones. We're doing customized medication. And we had a lot of practitioners coming to us saying, I really want to go down this road with pellet therapy, but I'm a little scared to. I don't want to sign a 19-page contract and be stuck with a non-compete. I don't want to give away, anywhere from 50 to 70% of my profits. And that was the only way to do it. A lot of people aren't pharmacies that are doing this. And so we were kind of feeling a push from the practitioners to put something together. And after much thought, we kind of thought, well, really, there's not anybody better to do that than a compounding pharmacy. You're direct to the source. We're compounding the highest quality product. We specialize in customized dosing, and we can really support you in a way that practitioners need to be supported when going down this road of hormones. We were also getting kind of a push from patients. We had a lot of patients coming to us saying, hey, I want to go to our practitioner. Either one was they had a bad experience, they weren't dosed correctly, they weren't feeling great, they had kind of buyer's remorse about pellet therapy and they wanted a new practitioner, or it was somebody that had heard horror stories and wanted to do this, but was, wanted a good practitioner to go to. And so for a pharmacy, we needed practitioners out there that we could send patients to, that we felt comfortable with their dosing model and knew that they would take care of that patient. So that's a little bit of the pressure that we were getting. At that point, we were compounding a lot of topicals, injections, capsules. We specialize in hormones. We're doing all these various kinds. We'd been compounding pellets for 8 years. But our owner, Tom, was not 100% committed to pellet therapy. He hadn't looked at the science yet. And so in order for us to put a program together, Tom really had to become passionate about pellet therapy. And he had to know that if he was going to put himself out there and make dosage recommendations and put this together, he had to understand everything behind pellets. So at that point, he decided to look into it. And we took our conference room and it became kind of a research and development room. And for over 9 months, Tom took studies stacked tables high, and read through these studies. And there's more data on pellet therapy than any other route of administration. And he took these 9 months and he looked through these studies. He read the material, he dissected what it said, and really got an understanding of the pharmacology of pellets, what levels we look at, how we do things with pellets versus topicals and injections and things like that. And so he was able to get a really good understanding of how that was working in the body and walk away from there, not just a fan, but a big fan of pellet therapy, understanding that there was more data to back this, that it was a safe and effective route of administration, and we truly could get positive patient outcomes with pellets. And we needed Tom to be on board with that. So that's kind of where the program started. And then from there, it's grown, because at that point, he said, okay, the studies are there. It says this is a good route of administration, but now I want to see it on the clinical side. So what he did at that point was he took everything that he had read in these studies and he put together kind of a preliminary dosage calculator. He said, okay, this is what the study said. This is what I'm going to start with. And I'm going to see if, in fact, we get the result that it says we will. So then he put it into play in the clinical side, and he went to practitioners that we had long-standing relationships with that were doing pellet therapy at the time and said, hey, I think we're dosing all wrong here. Let's look at this, because the studies say, we don't need that much testosterone. The studies say we need testosterone and estrogen. The studies say this. And so he put together this dosing model. He had clinicians start with this dosing with patients that, hadn't done anything previously. And he followed these patients for 6 to 9 months. And what he found was exactly what the study said, that if you dose this way, this is the result you're going to get. And the end result was some of those things that I just mentioned, that we don't need these elevated levels of testosterone. We don't need these massive doses of testosterone in women. The risk for cardiovascular increases. All of these negative things become negative again with too much. And so that's the premise of our program. We're a lot more conservative than anything else out there, but everything that we do as a pharmacy and in Pro-Pell is based on science. If there's not a study to back it, we don't make a recommendation. And so that's kind of why the program came to be. I think it's a great story because it shows our passion for science, our passion for customized dosing, and our passion for that positive patient outcome and safe compounded medications for patients. So our goal, our idea is for you to be successful, but we have a little bit different definition of success. We want to partner ourselves and align ourselves with practitioners that are really committed to understanding bioidentical hormones, not just pellets. Pellets are just one route of administration. And even if that's the only thing you're going to do in your practice, that's okay. But there really needs to be an understanding of bioidentical hormones and all of the routes of administration. So those practitioners, if we can align ourselves with those practitioners, we know that those are the ones that are going to be able to dose correctly. Those are the ones that are going to get that positive patient outcome and really have a positive experience for the patient, which means they're going to come back to you and they're probably going to refer somebody. So your patient base is going to grow, and that's what's profitable, and that's what's successful. So we want our practitioners to be successful with all of those steps. Our fear is if you miss any of those steps along the way, then you do really risk being successful. So our goal with Pro-Pell and our pharmacy is to make sure that we provide all of those steps. When we talk about Pro-Pell and pharmacy solutions, everything that we're talking about with bioidentical hormones is bioidentical. It's the same chemical structure as the hormones that we make in the body. We're not talking about synthetics. We're not, there's a lot of miscommunication about that, but we are, and we compound, talking about bioidentical hormones. With pellets, you probably know this, but it is the most natural way to deliver hormones for men and women. It's an implant about the size of a Tic Tac. It's placed under the skin. Lots of convenient features, a lot of advantages with pellet therapy. It's kind of in demand. This is one of the first things that's come around a long time that's very driven by the patient. Some people walking in saying, I want pellet therapy, but they have no idea why. That's because they're hearing really positive things about this. It's easy, it's convenient. You go in every 3 to 4 months and have the procedure done. It's a minimal, time frame. It takes 10 to 15 minutes once the practitioner has done a few. You risk, with topicals and things like that, you risk transferring that to your spouse or your pet. With pellets, you don't have that risk. You're also going to get a constant release of that physiological dose. So it works off zero order kinetics. So you're not going to get those peaks and valleys like you would with injections. That becomes a big talking point, with male patients, especially taking them from injections to a pellet therapy. So that's a huge selling point for pellet therapy. And then going back to the science, there's more data to support pellet therapy than any other route of administration. And the studies show that they're superior to all other forms. So a lot of reasons why you would bring that to your practice. All of those things are what's creating that demand, what's creating that patient to walk in and want to do it. And we have a lot of practitioners that we work with that say, I really want to do this, but I don't, the reason I'm doing it is to maintain and retain my patient base. If I don't do it, they're going to go down the street. Practitioners are losing their patients to people down the street because they're not offering it. And we know with pellet therapy, if you don't offer it, they will go somewhere else. Again, it's an efficient, effective procedure, usually 10 to 15 minutes. It's a great way for practitioners to bring in kind of a cash revenue procedure to their practice. It kind of revitalizes the practice in a lot of ways. And it's easy and quick. And if you do all of those things and you're a successful practitioner, then that's what becomes profitable. With Pro-Pell, the components that we're going to talk about today are the education and training, which is, my favorite part and probably the most important part. We're going to talk about business development and marketing and how we really put this into play in the practice, a little bit on nutritional support, and then what it's like working with a compounding pharmacy going forward, that ongoing support and education that we provide. When we talk about training, we have our training held at the pharmacy in Arlington, Texas. We hold it monthly. We keep these trainings very small. And the reason we keep them small is because we want to connect with your practice. If you're going to invest in a program, you're going to go down this road, we know that's a big deal for you. And so we want to be able to have an understanding of what your goals are, what you're trying to do. We also feel that this is a great way to start off this relationship. We welcome you in our pharmacy. We show you around. We give you a tour of our facility and the lab. You get to see some of those quality control measures that I mentioned earlier. And that gives you a really nice kind of warm and fuzzy feeling about who you're doing business with. We are the source of the pellets, which is different than anything else out there. So to have that opportunity to see how that's done is kind of exciting for you as well. So we keep those small. We keep them in Arlington. They're once a month. In this session, it's a 6-hour CME. And the CME portion is going to cover, the real science part. We're going to talk about bioidentical hormones for women. And this is not just pellets. This is all hormones. We're going to really look at bioidentical hormones, where they started, how they've evolved over the years, what the studies say we do with hormones. What hormones do we need? What are those benefits of the hormones? What levels do we look at? How do we get there? What are the different routes of administration? We really bring into play some of that science that I've mentioned so many times. And then we do the very same thing for men, and we keep those separate. When we look at hormones for men, how it's evolved, all of the studies behind it, all of the things that lead to low T, and what we do, what are those symptoms, how, what amount of the population is this hitting? We look at a lot of those little intricacies of bioidentical hormones for men and women. And then we dive into science behind pellets, and we look at pellet therapy specific, the studies that back pellets, that specific route of administration, what dosing model we use, what's the pharmacology of a pellet over some of these other routes of administration. How do we know when to use a pellet versus the others? What levels do we look at? What are the ratios? What do we need to know about pellet therapy? And that's a very interesting one. We bring a lot of science to the table that most of the time people have never heard. And that's a very fun segment of the CME. After that, we do some business and marketing. We take a break from the CME and we dive into some business and marketing. We talk about, how to put this into play, what marketing tools you need, how to reach the patients in office, website, social media. What are the forms we need to use? What are the frequently asked questions? How do I train my staff? All of those little intricacies of getting started. What's the process of doing this? And we really help give you an understanding of how to take this back to your office and get that ball rolling. And then we start going back to the procedure. The end of the day, we actually do procedure training. And we pull up the dosage calculator. We go through different scenarios on the calculator. We talk about, the different scenarios for men and women, how to get a dosage, what we do for the procedure. And then we have a medical director that actually comes in and does live procedures there, so you can see it on male and female patients. This is going to be where to put the pellets, how to put the pellets, how do you numb your patient, what tools do you need, how long does it take, what are the patient forms, all of that stuff around the procedure. And that's kind of a fun interactive part of the day. That's an opportunity for the practitioners to ask a lot of questions, to talk to other practitioners that might have done this before, talk to the trainers about, different techniques that they have or they've heard of before. So it's a very interactive part of the day. And that's when you really have kind of that nice, warm and fuzzy feeling of, okay, I can do this. Our training day starts at 8:30, and it's actually earlier than that now. We moved it to 7:30 in the morning with a continental breakfast. We start the CME sharp at 8 o'clock. And it runs until almost 5 o'clock that afternoon. And again, we keep these very small so we can get to know you, so you have all of your questions answered by the end of the day when you leave there. The training is offered to every practice that joins Pro-Pell, and it's offered to anybody in the practice. So we want to make sure that everybody that's involved, especially with the patients and dosing, anywhere around that procedure is a part of training. And so we realize that sometimes cannot all happen at the same time. And so the training is offered to anybody in the practice as often as needed. So if you have practitioners that start out 1 month and you want to add a nurse practitioner a few months later, that nurse practitioner can come through at a different time, and there's never a charge from that. We do have limited seats, so we always ask that everybody coming to training is signed up, and we've got a process for that we can share with you. I love our training class. It's a great opportunity for you to connect with our staff, to connect with our pharmacy, to really get the meat of the program and have a very high comfort level when you leave there. When we look at marketing, our goal was to really give you tools to market as much or as little as you want to. Much like our dosing calculator that we're going to talk about in a few minutes, our marketing is not one size fits all. We want to make sure that you as a practice have the tools that you need to market however you want to market. So these are some of the things that we've created for in-office marketing. We have the nice 6-foot banners that are for your waiting area. And that's just enough to really give your patient enough information to get them excited about it, to ask you questions. We have customized brochures. This is probably my favorite in-office piece. There's a brochure specific for men and specific for women. It's going to be a very patient-friendly brochure that gives them just all of the information around hormones, what the hormones are, why we need them, what are the healthful benefits of balanced hormones. And then, how do I know I'm a candidate? There's even a self-assessment on the back of each of those brochures that has a little question answered that they can fill out to see if this is something that they should talk to their practitioner about. The brochures are customized with your practice information on the front. So it's a great piece for patients to take away, and they always come back to you with that. So again, one of my favorite pieces. We also have patient room posters. So you can kind of get a nice consistent flow of marketing through the practice by putting these up in the exam rooms, waiting areas or places where people may sit. We also have all of these materials in Spanish. So if you have a Spanish speaking population, you can kind of add those in or replace these with the Spanish speaking pieces. You'll notice 3 different images. Like with the 6-foot banners, you can see that there's a female runner on the right, the male runner in the middle, and then the beaker on the left. We have those 3 images, and they're available in all of the pieces. So you can kind of pick and choose the demographic that you're really targeting and use that piece, wherever it fits. So you can kind of guide who you want to target. We also have some tabletop displays in the bottom right corner. Those are nice metal displays that can sit on tables in the waiting area or maybe a countertop, anything like that. Again, kind of following that same theme, giving them just enough information to say, hey, I'm kind of interested in talking about this. We also include anti-aging rack cards. We work with a lot of med spas, and med spas are, this is something that they like because it talks about just the beauty benefits of balanced hormones. Some of the anti-aging benefits. So that's a nice piece that you'll have as well. And those are specific for males and females. We also give you the frequently asked questions. This is a great piece to keep in your waiting area, also available in Spanish. This is a laminated 2-sided kind of cardstock high gloss piece that just hits those common questions that patients want to know the answers to. So it takes a little bit of pressure off of your office staff and gives a nice takeaway for patients that are considering pellet therapy. Some other things that we do, we want to make sure that we have the tools that you need to really cover your website and social media and other ways, digital marketing. So a lot of different links, logos, images, a certification badge that you're a Pro-Pell provider, just all kinds of great content, educational content that you can pass through to your website. The number one rule in marketing is you've got to have a place to guide your patients to really get the material, and a website's a great way to do that. A lot of our practitioners will utilize blogs that we've written. Again, links, logos, images, things like that are great for your website, and we have lots of very easy, kind of drag and drop things that you can do for your website that are part of what we provide. With everything that we talk about, and we're going to get to this in a second, is housed on a portal. So all of these things are kept on the portal that you'll have a secure username and password to reach, to where you can get all of these tools anytime. Anybody in the practice will have access to that. Some of the other things that we do are social media. We want to make sure that you have all of those posts and things that we utilize as a pharmacy and as a program. So if we're blogging about testosterone and heart health, we funnel that through for our providers to educate their patients as well. Again, we are very passionate about education. So takes a lot of pressure off practitioners to where you can utilize some of the tools that we do, that we use as a pharmacy. So we have lots of social media posts ready for you to kind of drag and drop, ads, links, logos, images, all of those things for social media. We also have email templates. If you want to introduce pellet therapy to your patient base, if you want to do a special campaign with a discount, a launch event, things like that are all ways that you can utilize the tools that we've already created without reinventing the wheel, and kind of tap into some of the work that we've already done. So this is a great way. A launch event is a great way to invite people, let them know you're doing it, kind of kickstart and get this ball rolling for pellet therapy. So those are all things that we will help you with. One of the things that we just recently added were some PowerPoint presentations also. So if you have an event where you have the opportunity to educate some patients, we have PowerPoint presentations that you can utilize. These are patient-friendly information. It's about 15 to 20 minutes, gives you that outline and that PowerPoint for you to play it for your for your patients in the area. This is a great way for you to establish kind of that relationship with patients, for you to be the go-to, and they start to really trust in you if you can make a presentation like this and give them that basic information on hormone therapy. So that's something that's available to you as well. We've created all of the patient forms that you're going to need in the process. Some of those would be, the health questionnaire, which is by far, the most important form that we have. It's a 5-page questionnaire that gives you all of those things I mentioned earlier, the medical history of the patient, the current medications they're taking, one full page of symptoms for women, gynecological history, all of those things that you need to know to dose the patient. We know that we're going to have a dosage calculator and you'll get a recommendation there, but that health questionnaire is really going to give you a nice comprehensive look at that patient and how they feel. So that's going to be a tool that you're going to use quite a bit for the dosing. And we have that specific for men and women as well. We also have what to expect. What can I expect after the first insertion? Is it gonna hurt? Is it gonna bleed? How long do I keep the Band-Aid on? You've got some post-insertion instructions. Can I swim? Can I work out? All of those kind of FAQs about the procedure that patients want to know. Nice takeaway for the patient, especially after that first insertion. We have some consent forms if you choose to use those. We also have the lab draw form. So we'll talk about labs in training, where you can go, some recommendations depending on your specialty on how to do labs. So all of these patient forms, again, available on the portal, just kind of keeping you from having to reinvent the wheel. All of them are available in Spanish, and all of them can be edited. You can put your logo on it. You can change things if that's what you choose to do. So the provider portal that I keep talking about, again, this is a secure login. It's web-based. Every practice will have one username and password to get in, and that's going to give you access to everything. It's going to give you access to, number one, and most important, the dosage calculator. That's the number one reason people go there. That's going to require about 14 criteria that you put in based on labs and some medical history, and that's going to make a dosage recommendation. All of that is coming from that preliminary research that Tom did, and tweaking it over the last 5 years. So the dosage calculator is by far the best tool on the portal, but it also houses everything else that you might need in the program. Has a lot of different training videos. So a training video on how to do a launch event, all of the things that you need to do to prepare for it and plan for it. How do you do the invitation? When do you do the invitation? What should you have there? And just kind of all of those tools for you. We've got insertion videos, training on how to use the patient forms, how to do an email blast. All of those things are just nice little tools that, because it's overwhelming in the beginning, that you have at your fingertips to review again. We also have different marketing tools, so you can print the forms, you can edit the forms, you can get those links and logos, the drag and drop that I mentioned earlier. All of that is housed on the marketing section of the portal. A lot of different printables, so all of the patient forms you're able to print. Some of them you can edit, different guides on trocars and labs and things like that. So a lot of great tools on the portal, and we spend a lot of time in training showing you the portal, kind of going through this so you have a really good understanding of what that's like. Again, the dosage calculator is the number one reason you would go there. This is available. The portal can also be also be found by using the app. So we have an app you can download for your cell phone or iPad. Once you get on there, you put that login information, it saves it. You can kind of see a screenshot there of the dosage calculator. It's going to ask you for about 14 criteria. You put that in. It recommends a dosage. It's also going to recommend supplements if necessary. So one of the requirements is a vitamin D level. So it may make a recommendation for vitamin D. Cardiovascular risk may recommend CoQ10. There's some reasons why it would recommend supplementation as well. Once it makes that recommendation, it gives you the option to print it as a PDF, so you can put it in that patient file. And so while you have, this dosage calculator at your fingertips, which really takes a lot of the pressure off, you have this fabulous training course that gives you a rock solid foundation of bioidentical hormones, and you've got all of these tools to really start this process out. We know that sometimes that's not even enough. And you have this great tool to make this recommendation, but sometimes you need more. And so that's where working with a compounding pharmacy really is different. You can pick up the phone and call. You can get to a pharmacist by dialing a direct number. They answer the phone, and you can talk through different troubleshooting scenarios or maybe just uncertainty. Not that pharmacists know everything, but together you guys can discuss where that patient is, what's going on with the patient, and find a safe and effective starting place for that patient, whether it's a pellet or anything else. And so our ongoing support is second to none in that. Tom gives out his cell phone. You'll have all of our pharmacist numbers to where you have kind of that relationship right from the start to pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I'm not sure what to do with this patient. The dosage calculator says this, but I feel like this is going on, or maybe it's that. It's not one size fits all, and it's not anything that you can learn in a 6-hour CME. While we give you all of that foundation, we realize that it's a work in progress and it's a learning curve. And so we try to walk alongside with you and really give you that support, especially when it comes to dosing. Some of the other areas where we support you will be business development and marketing. That's our job, is to make sure that when you come onto this program that you're successful, that you are really taking in patients, that you're growing at whatever the pace is that you want to grow at. Everybody has different goals. So again, we try to find out those goals in the beginning, and we just want to make sure that you have all the support you need, whether it's business development, marketing, dosing, troubleshooting, any of those things. So again, working direct with the pharmacy is really a really nice tool for all the practitioners. We do offer a supplement program. We talk a lot about this in training, but this just gives you the opportunity to bring in supplements that are private labeled, they're pharmaceutical grade, to offer to your patient. It allows you to ensure that they are getting a good quality supplement instead of going down the street and buying something subpar. And it also allows you to kind of control and see that they truly are taking their supplements. We know that there's, with bioidentical hormones, there's a need for supplementation. And we believe wholeheartedly in that. And so if this is something that you want to bring in, Pro-Pell does have an opportunity for you to bring that in, and you can even make a little bit of money on it by bringing in the private line. When we talk about profitability with pellet therapy, I like to go through these slides. And I think it's important to understand profitability. While that's not, the main goal of this program, we do know that it can be very profitable. But the point in showing you this is also to caution you on other programs with high percentages. It is not our goal to take a percentage of everything that you do. We want you to be successful. We want to partner with you on this. So this profitability slide is designed to show you some of the different opportunities on profit. We'll start with the male patients. The average retail price for a male patient to get pellet therapy is around $650 to $700. You'll see that patient on average 3 to 4 times per year. Your average cost of pellets with Pro-Pell is around $180 for a male patient. Your average cost of a trocar, which is the tool you use to insert the pellets, is $27. So if you take all of that income and you kick out those costs, what this is showing you is a value that it puts for every new male patient that comes into your practice each year. So after 1 year, each man is worth $1,972. For women, same thing. The average retail price is around $350 to $400. The average number of times that you will see them is around 3 to 4. Your average cost of pellets is $37, and your average cost of trocar the same, about $27. So that's giving you a value of each new female patient of $1,344. Okay. Moving over to the box on the right, this is showing you a scenario of 5 patients a day on a 4-day work week. Okay, so 20 patients a week. The profit that it would add to your practice after a year. So if you just did male patients, it's a little better than $2 million. If you just did female patients, it's a little less than $1.4 million. Please understand, our goal is not to show you some pie in the sky scenario. If you say, I don't ever think I'll do 20 a week, okay, maybe it's 10, cut it in half. Maybe it's just a couple. You can do the math and see. The goal is not to show you that profit. It's to show you the next slide, which is if you sign up with something that takes a percentage off the back. And that's a very common business structure that's out there with pellet programs. And again, kind of why we created this. If you are committed to a percentage off the back, that value of a male patient from $1,972 now goes down to a little better than $1,000, and from $1,344 for women down to about $460. That's what happens when you have to give away 65% of every patient, which means you've left this much money in their pocket and not yours. So for male patients, you've given away an extra $960,000 and a little better than $900 for women. So again, not to show you some pie in the sky scenario, but to give you an idea of what the financial commitment is when you sign up with a percentage versus just buying the pellets. And again, our goal is to help you be successful, to help get that positive patient outcome through customized dosing, and really, have a happy patient that feels good, that has balanced hormones, that's getting the healthful benefits of balanced hormones. And, we're a pharmacy. We sell compounded medications. That's what we do. And you're the practitioner. So we want to give you tools to be successful. A lot of questions on this that we have. This is cash pay. Pellet therapy is cash pay. Insurance companies typically will not cover compounded medications. And this is one of those categories that is just cash pay. They won't cover this. So a lot of questions on that. With our program, our goal was to find a way, for a commitment, nothing ventured, nothing gained type thing, but to also have a way to give you a return on that investment. So for Pro-Pell, the program cost is $7,500. That $7,500 can be paid out in 3 payments, $2,500 each over 90 days. The first payment is what confirms the seed and training and kickstarts all of the marketing materials and access to the dosage calculator. So our goal is to really get that ball rolling for you quickly, to try to get some marketing done before training, those types of things to ensure success. Included in the $7,500 is your first 20 patients for free. So if you're only treating female patients, that's about a $6,500 value. For male patients, it's well beyond $10,000. So we feel like we're doing something to really get that return on your investment. And our goal is to get those first 20 patients back to you within the first 30 to 60 days. The $7,500 is also going to include 20 trocars. Our take on trocars, we work with one company. In training, we will go through trocars, who they come from, what the different kits look like, and we provide you your first 20 with the program. And then at that point, once you tell us which trocar you like, we can help you hone in on that company and even go direct to the company to save a little bit of money. Another way that we can just help you to cut costs a little bit. The $7,500 is also going to include the marketing package. So everything that we looked at previously, all of the in-office marketing tools, the banner, the tabletop displays, the customized brochures, the frequently asked questions, the anti-aging rack cards, all of those in-office pieces, access to the portal, so all of the digital marketing, all of the forums, training videos, access to the dosage calculator, and then all of that ongoing and support along with the CME training. Again, training being offered continuously. New people in the practice, or if you want to revisit training, that's always welcome. Pro-Pell does not have a contract. The only thing that we ask be signed is a non-disclosure agreement, and that's for anybody that comes to training with the CME or has access to the dosage calculator. And that's just to protect the information given in class. Once you're on board with Pro-Pell, then the only thing you do after that is buy pellets or other products. So we don't have any percentage on the backside. We don't have a software fee. There's not any other hidden percentages or charges. And we'll talk about pellet pricing in a second. But when you're buying pellets, everybody's placed on a tiered pricing system. And because we don't have a contract, we were trying to come up with a way to create some loyalty and give you buying incentives. So everybody starts on tier 3. When you hit $25,000 in accumulative purchases, you move down to tier 2. And when you hit 75 in accumulative purchases, you move down to tier 1. Once you're at tier 1, you stay there. That is our most competitive pricing scale. The biggest benefit is that you're not subject to price increases. Pro-Pell providers are not subject to price increases. With compounded medications and hormones especially, that's a pretty good talking point. So that's another added incentive there. To give you an idea of what that pricing looks like, this is a sample of the price sheet. You'll see that we have 9 strengths of testosterone. We have 7 strengths of estradiol. We offer 3 strengths of a balanced estrogen pellet, a biest pellet. We have 2 strengths of testosterone and anastrozole, 1 strength of testosterone finasteride, and 1 strength in a progesterone capsule. The goal of showing you this is a couple things. Number one, to see the huge offering of pellets. Our goal is to get as close to that dosage as we can with as few pellets as possible. And so we know as a compounding pharmacy, we're compounding a lot of different strengths of pellets. The other thing is to show you those tiers. So again, everyone starts on tier 3 and you move down with purchases. So just like to show this so you kind of have an idea of what that looks like. Going back to the quality, we test every single batch of pellets for sterility and for potency. Sterility is obviously sterility, but potency is a big talking point. Some of the feedback we get is that other practitioners will have one batch of pellets that looks one way, acts one way. The next comes in and it looks totally different and it isn't lasting as long in their patients. So we're testing for that potency with every single order. You get a copy of that sterility and potency testing so that you know you're putting in your patient a good quality compounded medication. I didn't mention that earlier, so I wanted to go back for that. That's it on the pricing and the program. Our upcoming trainings, if you'll go to propelltherapy.com/events, that will give you a list of the upcoming trainings. You're welcome to sign up there. If you have additional questions, please let us know how we can help. We're happy to help in any way we can. Thank you for joining the webinar today, and I look forward to talking with all of you.